Okay, so we're gonna go over what I read in the past 5 weeks or so. And yeah, I have 17 things to talk about, so let's make this fast. First thing, We Should All Be Feminists, which I gave 5 out of 5. It's a very short but important read. It's based on Adichie's 2013 TED Talk, which explores what feminism means today. Next, I read Hood Feminism, which I also gave a 5 out of 5. Kind of the same thing as We Should All Be Feminists. It just explores how mainstream feminism is not enough. Basically talking about how mainstream feminism ignores the intersectionality between like sexual orientation, gender, and race, and how it just doesn't cover the needs of women who aren't white. And then I read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which I gave 3 out of 5. It's about this woman who makes this bargain with the devil in like the 1800s to live forever, and she is cursed to be forgotten by anyone that she meets. Thus begins the journey of Addie LaRue, who the novel kind of takes you through her adventure in living 300 years. I thought it was too long. Yeah, it's like 700 pages, and and it's too similar to Age of Adeline, the movie, or Adeline, whatever. So I don't know why everyone loves this book, because the idea is not unique, and people just prize this idea of being unique. It's not, especially when the characters have the same name and the same concept. I don't understand. Anyway, and then I read A Promised Land by Barack Obama. King, right? I listened to the audiobook, which was 39 hours long, and I read the novel or the book alongside it. And it's very technical, so it kind of juxtaposes against Michelle's biography, which is more personal and just about her, pretty much, whereas this is about his presidential term and all he accomplished during it. Some people thought it was a little braggy, but when you're a president, why shouldn't you be braggy? Except for Trump, but you know what I mean. Yeah. So it's just about his first term. He's gonna release a second book, which I am guessing is gonna be on his second term. Yep. And then I read The Joy Luck Club, which I gave a 3 out of 5. It's about in the 1950s, 4 Chinese women, who are all recent immigrants to San Francisco, begin meeting to eat dim sum, play mahjong, and just kind of talk. And they're united in their shared experience of loss and hope, and they call themselves the Joy Luck Club. So the book kind of bounces around between now and the past. So it talks about the experience of those 4 women, and then in the present, which is like their daughters. I liked the novel, but like didn't love it just because I couldn't relate to specific characters' experiences, but I still found it interesting just because it is kind of like a classic or a key Asian text. And then I read Less, which I gave 3 out of 5, which is about this author whose name is Andrew Less, and he's about to turn 50, and then he gets a wedding invitation in the mail, and his long-term ex-boyfriend or long-term boyfriend is now engaged, and he kind of goes through this like midlife crisis, and he travels around the world. I gave that one a 3 out of 5, and then I read How to Pronounce Knife, which I gave a 3.5 out of 5. It is a collection of essays about the inner lives of Laos immigrants to Canada, and there's a lot of exploration about assimilation for families immigrating to Canada, and it was a relatively short read just because it was a collection of essays. And it just allows for people to experience or learn about different immigration stories, and there's a lot of focus on working class families. So if you're interested in reading that, you should read this. And then I read Born a Crime by Trevor Noah, which I gave 5 out of 5. I love this memoir. As you can see, I'm on a memoir roll. I'm just rolling with all the memoirs. It's about Trevor Noah's memoir about growing up in apartheid South Africa, and he was born to a white Swiss father and a black Xhosa mother at a time when mixed couples were a crime and punishable by 5 years in prison. So that's where the memoir starts, and it takes you through his life to becoming who he is today. You know, the successful news anchor, comedian. I listened to the audiobook, which is narrated by him, and he's incredibly funny, and just his recounting of his experience is just great. So you should listen/read it. And then I read Talking as Fast as I Can, which is by my god, Lauren Graham, which I give 5 out of 5. It's just her memoir about her life from playing Lorelai in Gilmore Girls to playing Lorelai in Gilmore Girls: A Year in the Life. As you can see, I'm on a memoir roll. I'm just rolling with all the memoirs. She kind of talks about her experience in Hollywood and acting in Parenthood, which is where my username comes from, Braverman. So I just love this book. Just reminded me of her, because I haven't watched Gilmore Girls in a long time. You should listen to the audiobook too. This book is just really short in general. So yeah. And then I read Modern Love, which I also gave 5 out of 5 because I love the show. I'm kind of biased. It's based on the best essays from the New York Times column Modern Love. You should watch the show, and you should listen to the podcast, and you should read this book. But if you were to do any of those things, it would be watch the show. It's on Prime, and it's only like 8 episodes. And then I read In Conclusion, Don't Worry About It, which is also by Lauren Graham, which means I also give it 5 out of 5. It's incredibly short because it's her commencement speech from when she gave the commencement speech in 2017 at her high school, Langley High. And it's just about her advice for graduates, and her reflections on how to stay true to yourself. And it's just a really cute little commencement speech that, we never got. As you can see, I'm on a memoir roll. I'm just rolling with all the memoirs. And then I read Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs, which I gave 3.5 out of 5. It's about this mortician who answers questions that kids usually have about death, such as, will my cat eat my eyeballs? It's really funny. There's a lot of cute illustrations in the book, and the audiobook was good because it's narrated by the author. So you should read this for a fast, casual little read. As you can see, I'm on a memoir roll. I'm just rolling with all the memoirs. And then I read Dear Girls by Ali Wong. And I also love Ali Wong, which means that this rating will be a 5 out of 5. It's about her heartful, hilarious letters to her 2 daughters, just talking about covering everything that they need to know in life, such as unpleasant details of dating, or how to be a working mom in a male-dominated industry, such as comedy, and how she trapped their dad. It's really cute. I love Ali Wong, so you should read this. As you can see, I'm on a memoir roll. I'm just rolling with all the memoirs. And then I read The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin, which I gave a 3.5, or no, not 3.5, a 3 out of 5. It's a young adult fantasy novel about 5 New Yorkers who embody the different boroughs of NYC, such as Manhattan, Staten Island, the Bronx, etc. And they come together to protect their city. I thought it was dragged out, but it's an interesting concept, so I'll probably just continue the series just because this novel kind of seemed like an introduction. So yeah, the cover is really nice though. And then I read Brother, which I won't really be talking about because it was for class, but it's short, so if you want a short read, and it's about experience in Toronto, so. And then I read A Burning, which is about 3 characters who seek to rise into the middle class, to political power, and to fame, and find their lives entangled in the wake of catastrophe in India. I didn't really give this a rating just because I didn't know what to give, because the ending is the only part of the book that really made me feel. The rest of it I was just kind of cruising through, So yeah, maybe a 3 out of 5 or 3.5, I don't know. Or 2, I don't know. And then I read Minor Feelings, which is kind of a blend of a memoir, cultural criticism, and history, to expose the truth of racialized consciousness in America. I really enjoyed the beginning of the book, and when Hong talks broadly about the Asian American experience and how it fits into the minority convention, or conversation. And she talks about the way being an invisible minority makes you question the validity of your issues. I don't know if that made sense, but I really liked the beginning. The middle was alright, and the end I couldn't really relate to, just because she starts to talk about other people's experiences that are like extremely specific. But overall, the message of this book is amazing and puts things you feel into words, if you know what I mean. As you can see, I'm on a memoir roll. I'm just rolling with all the memoirs. So those are the 17 things that I read in the past 5 weeks, I think. Currently 12 out of 52 books into my goal of my reading goal of the year. And thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my tiny microphone, and goodbye.